The experiential meanings, or my experiential meanings of the tarot cards, is a series I started months and months ago. I should have checked. I could have, because the playlist is there. And I just didn't keep it up. I didn't keep it up because honestly, I have more ideas for videos than I have time to record them, and that's just life. I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. Anyway, so I started with the Fool, the Magician. And interestingly enough, I didn't remember if I had started with the Fool, but I've had this card on my mind. Excuse me, thinking faster than I speak. Whatever. Let's start again. I've had this card on my mind because of my last video, and it is the High Priestess. I don't know why I'm being coy. You're going to see the title at the bottom of the video. So it's the High Priestess. This is our Rider-Waite, and this is our Thoth. I find this card the most, I don't like, when I see the Fool show up in a reading, it's like, oh no. When I see this card show up in a reading, it's more like, okay, well then, there's really no point in going forward. And I'll explain why. My experiential meaning of the High Priestess, ever since I started reading for people, for myself and then for other people in the 80s, this is the card that shows up when people or myself ask a question that cannot be answered at this time. This is the card that when I'm reading for someone and then this card shows up, it's basically this. You do not go further. You may not proceed. You go straight to jail and don't pass go. This is the card, the High Priestess. I know, watching TarotTube and my whole adventure trying to learn the book meanings of this card. It's the subconscious, it's the intuition card. Whereas my experiential meaning of this card is that this is fate. This is destiny. This is unknowable. You are asking information that you are not privy to. This is an experience you're going to have to live and see how it turns out. Your question cannot be answered at this time because you have to experience the unfoldment of what is about to occur. Now, this is one of those cards that when I see it, I always think, oh shit. Because often this will show up in readings where people are asking about how another person feels about them. You see where I'm going with this? I know a lot of the controversy on TarotTube about, those of us who read, what's that term? Predictively? Whatever. A lot of the criticism there is that the assumption is that when we read predictively, that we are giving people one view of their future, which is untrue. Those of us who do divine for people, I had explained the whole thing like I'm in the center of the wheel, the spokes of possible futures unfolds around me, and I try to explore as many as I can with the person, with the querent. Same thing goes for the criticism of, what is the term? Third-party readings. Whoever coined that term, wow, man. Wow. Third-party readings where someone goes to see a psychic or a tarot reader to find out what someone else is thinking, feeling. Oh my God, those are the pillars of why people go to get their cards read. So this whole thing about when I hear people say I don't do third-party readings, I hope you say that up front so that people who are looking for what other people are thinking or feeling don't come to you, because then it's not fair. I'm just putting that out there. Just like I put it out there very blatantly, I am not For me, you don't get a psychological reading. For me, you get, I divine cards. So, and I am very blatant about what it is that I offer. Back to the High Priestess. This is the card that so I'm just going to recap because then I did a whole bunch of blabbing after that. The future is unknowable at this time. You are not privy to this information. Not that the answer is behind here. You are not allowed to see the man behind the curtain at this time. Or you may never have permission to see the man behind the curtain, because what you are asking is not for you to know. So this is a hard message to deliver to someone who comes to me for a reading. You know what I mean? This is like when it shows up, it's like, oh no. This is a message that's easier to deliver in person to the querent than it is in an email reading, or like email or Skype. It could sound a little dismissive. It could sound like you're dismissing the person, or it could sound like you don't want to tell them, because this card, the meaning of this card is, yes, this information is available, but not for you. And even I, the reader, am not privy to what the information is behind the curtain. I just wanted to share that this is the Thoth, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's a different energy than this one. But there's that netting. There's that mesh where we could see the foreground, but the priestess is behind the mesh. So different kind of energy, same meaning for when it comes up. This is, you're going to have to experience the mundane world. The maze is not for you. So this is, and there's one more thing about my experiential meaning of the High Priestess. When the High Priestess shows up in a reading to describe a person, for instance, if it shows up, I do a zodiac spread. I've been doing the zodiac spread since, or the astrological spread, since the beginning of time. It's a wheel. It's 12 cards. We start with the first house and we go around to the 12th house. And it's this whole thing that I've internalized what it means in terms of timing and all this stuff. I can't even explain it to you. It's just, I think it was the first thing I saw someone else use, and I just copied it and I made it my own. But when the High Priestess shows up in the first house of that reading, which is, describes the individual, who they are, how they present themselves to the world, this is the card of the psychic. So, if the querent who comes to see me is also psychic, this card will appear in their reading, no fail. This card appears in my readings all the time because it's who I am. This card also corresponds with, so this is like the deep, deep spiritual, the psychic, the medium. Also, you can't, you're not allowed to know. And then I normally associate this card with also the Queen of Cups in terms of describing someone. But the Queen of Cups is someone who is still grappling with who they are. They still don't really know who they are. The High Priestess knows who they are. And this is like gender. This is not it's not just feminine. Like this is obviously it's feminine energy. Receptive and intuitive and, connected to the moon and all that stuff, and water and the subconscious. But this also applies to other genders, not just female, like for the querent. Same thing with the court cards. For me, it's like I don't read court cards by gender or age. Unless that's what the reading demands, because I came of age learning that the court cards are genders, age, occupations. There's a whole. It's all up here right now. I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even map it out. If someone started talking about it, then I'd be able to say, "Oh yeah," and then it would all come to me like in an organized fashion. But right now, it's just up there, and it just comes out when it needs to. So that's it. I told you what it describes as a person. When there's no way of knowing the answer to that question, this comes out. It's like, stop. No, you are not privy to this information. And it's also, and lastly, the High Priestess, when it comes up in the 12th house, which is Pisces, in the reading spread that I do, it means that not only can you not know the answer to your question, not only do you have to experience it, but it's going to be harsh. All right, my friends, that's it. Experiential meaning of the cards. Today's card was the High Priestess. Thank you for tuning in. Wishing you all a beautiful day. Bye-bye.